Christopher Cross and Sailing got more great 70s music and a chat with Madeleine Bell in the next hour. This is Radio 2 on the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker and on 88 to 91 FM.
BBC News at 4 o'clock. This is Adam Porter. Holidaymakers and lorry drivers are experiencing another day of disruption at the port of Dover and the Eurotunnel terminal at Folkestone in Kent. Officials say the situation at Dover is easing and people should have to wait for only an hour. But long queues of cars and lorries are still waiting on the M20 carriageway which leads to Folkestone, and it could take some time for them to be cleared. Our reporter Vishala Sripathma is there.
Frustration has certainly shifted here to Folkestone, particularly in the roads leading to the Channel Tunnel entrance. There are queues of cars and lorries, around 600 lorries that have been sitting here, some for 15 hours plus, and that's because the M20, the road that they're sitting on at the moment, has been partially closed to accommodate them to effectively act as a lorry park. So other traffic have been diverted to other roads, and those roads have been struggling to cope.
Russia has admitted it carried out an attack on a boat in the Ukrainian port of Odessa yesterday. Ukraine said the strike showed that Moscow could not be trusted to maintain the deal it agreed to on Friday to facilitate grain exports leaving Ukraine. Both candidates in the race to become the next Conservative leader have promised a crackdown on migration. Rishi Sunak said he would tighten the definition of who qualifies for asylum and introduce a cap on refugee numbers. Liz Truss said she would extend the UK's plan to send asylum seekers to Rwanda. Professor Brad Blitz is a migration expert from University College London. He said neither candidate's plans would reduce the number of people arriving in small boats.
There were almost 30,000 boat arrivals last year. The idea that sending a few hundred people to Rwanda is going to solve that is, again, it's fantasy. They need to look at the reasons why people are coming and identify opportunities for cooperation with the French, with other European governments. And that is the only way we're actually going to see some of these numbers come down.
The US climate envoy John Kerry says President Biden is considering announcing a climate emergency. The move would give him additional powers to push his renewable energy agenda, which has been held up by a lack of support in Congress. Mr. Kerry said the world was now feeling the effects of global heating.
We are moving forward, but we're not making enough progress, and we're not moving forward fast enough. So we are behind where we need to be to avoid the worst consequences of the climate crisis. And I think everybody in Europe, in the United States, around the world are feeling the early parts of that, of those consequences. Hopefully, we can turn this around and accelerate what we promised to do in Glasgow.
Firefighters in California are struggling to contain a huge wildfire that's getting closer to Yosemite National Park. More than 6,000 people have been moved from their homes since the blaze started on Friday. Parts of California are in a state of emergency. BBC News, it's 3 minutes past 4. BBC Radio 2. Let's get some travel now. Here's Orna Merchant.
Adam, thank you. It's not bad at all on most of the motorways. Glasgow, you've got the queues, which are there all the time anyway, east and west, around Fruit Market at Junction 14 and on to Junction 18 at Charing Cross. It's the Woodside Viaduct. It's looking better over the Queensferry crossing now. The M90, it was slow on the southbound side near Junction 1B, just ahead of it because of a breakdown, but still closed. Stockton-on-Tees, the A19 closed in both directions between Wolverston, that's at the A689 at Cole Lane, and the Norton interchange. Also, the queues on the M6 are still there in Cheshire, so northbound we had an accident. 2 lanes are closed, and that's over Thirlwall Viaduct between Junction 20 at Lymm and 21 at Woolston. At one point they temporarily blocked it. It looks as though you can get past, but it's queuing back to Knutsford at 19. Those are long delays. And southbound queues there as well from 21 Woolston to 20 at Lymm. There's a breakdown in one of the lanes, but that's one of the busiest stretches of the M6 today through Cheshire. And it's also quite slow around Cannock at 11 to 10 at Walsall. Queue showing there as well. Leeds, the A643 northbound approaching the A58 slow into the city centre. And then if you're heading towards either the Port of Dover or Folkestone and Eurotunnel, you've still got the delays on many of those A roads. The M20 is also closed on the eastbound coastbound side, Leeds Castle at 8 to 12 at Cheriton. That's for traffic management. The A259 is very congested and the A261.